The roll to determine quorum, please.
Yes, sir. Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Mr. Sloan?
Here.
Ms. Slade? Here. Ms. Dearden? Here. Mr. Collier?
Here.
All are present and we have a quorum.
Thank you very much, Madam Secretary. And the Economic Development Director. We now open the citizen comment period. And if there are any citizens that would like to comment, please come forward. And I notice it appears the mic's off, so please turn on your mic. Thank you.
That was me. I touched it.
Linda Moore, 2164 Prophet Road, Mannequin-Sabot. I guess what we're trying to figure out as a community is the EDA's role in some of this economic development stuff as far as non-disclosure agreements. I think that's been a tight issue. I don't know anything more about it, but I do know that that's what the chatter is, with especially District 4 and District 5. And the track meeting didn't, community meeting actually made things more complicated as far as the non-disclosures agreements when they brought out that they've had non-disclosure agreements for data centers in the western part of the state. And then, I mean of the county, I'm not the state. But so we just need to have a little better understanding of what the EDA actually does and doesn't do. So, I mean, you have said that you are your individual, entity, different from the county. And I don't think anybody who lives in the county understands that. At least I didn't until about a year and a half ago. So if I didn't understand it, and I've been around for a while, long time, Lisa, right? So I don't think they do either. So, I mean, it's more of we don't understand your role versus the role of the General Assembly in our lives and what the Board of Supervisors can or cannot do. So I'm just kind of stuck in the middle. And I feel like I'm stuck in the middle with you all because they don't understand, and it's really gotten to be a knockdown, drag out, thing in the community, and it's kind of tearing up my community. I'm sorry, I've been over my time, but I was hoping that we could kind of have from the EDA a little bit of synopsis that says this is what our role is and this is what we're charged with. We're separate from the Board of Supervisors. We have our own funding to do what we feel we need to do for economic development. Unless I'm overstating it, I may be overstating it. But you can correct me. I'm sure you will if I'm wrong. Meeting you for the first time, I've come to a lot of meetings, but you've never been there. So again, I'm Linda Moore. Hopefully, we can kind of do something so that we can kind of settle things down a little bit. I know you did a great job in getting Eli Lilly, and and Amazon and other big, corporations to come here, and I just hope we can continue. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else wanting to speak in the public comment period?
My name is Barbara Sloan, 2052 Maidens Road in Maidens. And I didn't plan to speak. I only would like to say something because I'd like to kind of piggyback on what Linda said. And Linda is a very involved person. She's a very well-read person. She does her homework, and she's asking for some very good information. One thing I would like to mention, though, is that you have to do your own homework. And what I see is when people don't do their homework and they finally realize there's a board or there's decisions being made by the county administrator or the board of supervisors, the planning commission, whatever, that all of a sudden they, oftentimes I think the public, because they don't understand what's going on and they haven't done their homework, they haven't attended the meetings, they haven't read the information that is available to them every single time there's a meeting, every single time there is anything put out by this county, you have the opportunity to watch it, stream it, read it. And so I really find it irritating, and not in this case what Linda said, I think what she said was great, but that oftentimes there is the implication of nefarious activity and underhanded goings on. And I don't understand it because it's all out there. It is not going to be spoon-fed to you anymore. You have to do your own homework. You have to become an educated citizen because the people that get on these boards are either appointed or elected. They're citizens of this county. They deserve your respect. And that's all I'll say. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to address the authority during the public comment period? See none, hearing none. And I will take a quick response. Anytime you want to meet, we can discuss, we're really authorized by 15.2, 4900 of the Code of Virginia, and love to talk about it anytime you wish. So thank you for your comments, and likewise, my wife, thank you for your comments. Next is chair's comments, and unfortunately, my iPad is not bringing up through the connectivity, so I'm going to digress to paper. Because one should always have paper backup. Just as a series of several things that I want to cover, Kenny and I met with Michael, who is up here with us. Michael is our counsel from Christian Barton, has been with us for a number of years on the 21st, and hence part of the reason why he's here tonight. And is it correct, Madam Director, that we'll also be talking about, and I'll suggest staff talking about some of the items on the calendar coming up, whether it be CTE or the tour, port tour, et cetera?
Yes, all of that will get in.
Okay, fantastic. The September meeting, we have, it's for the end of September. I actually have another scheduled event on that date, and I believe you do also, Chance? Madam Economic Director, do you know there's someone else that won't be available? That's right. I apologize, Lisa. So is there any desire to change the date or move the date in September?
Of the meeting, you're saying?
Of the meeting. That is, we can cancel, we can change the date, or schedule, let's say, some other time period. The first two Wednesdays? And I'm not sure. May I suggest then we just cancel the September meeting unless something arises that requires some deliberation on our part? Is that acceptable to everyone?
Also, Dad, I will be missing the October meeting. I don't know if that's going to push anything back further or later back.
Is that all of October? Okay.
September 30th is the last Wednesday in the month, right?
Are you available September? You're not September 30th. You are? May we tentatively schedule the 30th as our next meeting date unless,
Well, I was just going to point out, later on the agenda, we were also going to talk about having an October work session. So you may have two October meetings if you wanted to forego the September meeting and have the work session and then your October meeting. If not, we can do a September 30th meeting, an October work session, and then an October regular meeting.
Let's go ahead with that unless there's an objection to that. And hearing no objection. Kenny and I are also going to be attending the Data Center Dynamics Connect Conference on November 3rd and 4th. And that's up in Lansdale, excuse me, I was going to say Maryland, but it's in Virginia. And it's a collection of individuals from across the board on, I'll say, anything involving data centers, from internals to externals to power, everything else. I know, and I believe both of us are attending on our own purse strings. So there's no charge. We're not going to put any reimbursements into the EDA on that. Nora, thank you for the information that I've requested of you regarding insurance and some other things. Along that lines, I'll point out the fact that Nora has sent an update to the taxable market value. I don't know if you have that, Kenny, if it showed up down there. But it's kind of a barometric way of looking at what we're supposed to do in terms of increasing commercial revenue. And that's an important thing. And we've been talking about the fact that maybe it's an opportunity for a dashboard item. If the county has that. Lisa, back, I remember over a year ago, I think you said something about what's going on now. This is different. And it truly is, whether it be onshoring like with Lilly or the AI that's just taking all business by storm. In May, machine usage on the internet exceeded human usage on the internet. This last calendar year, actually last year to date, there were more businesses formed in the United States ever than the history of the United States. And it's being driven by AI and all the changes that are coming forth. As Mark Andreessen had said, and I think I said this at a board meeting, that all the programs he knows are turning into zombies because of all the agents that are being used and all the programming that's going on 24/7 now, where it never could before. And technology is changing very, very, very rapidly, whether it be cooling, power, or anything else. And I was talking to a counsel who spends a lot of time in Loudon, and he said, unfortunately, it's also changing the property valuation, the sale of properties up there, because it's very hard to buy real estate for any type of warehousing or logistics centers because the property values are so high, or the selling price is so high, that really data centers are the only ones that can afford it. And tech drove 33% of the growth to the GDP last year, and it's only growing this year. And it's also the only thing that kept Virginia out of the recession. So with that being said, I'll conclude my long-winded chair comments and move on to the approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second? There is a motion on the floor, a second. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing no discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes as written, please state aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? That approves. Now, Madam Treasurer, if you would, please.
Yes. So we are currently sitting with a balance of $1,208,020.55 in our total cash. Nor question, what is this piece of it? Is that separate?
That is separate.
Okay, making sure. And we have no bills to pay this month.
Fantastic. Are there any questions for the treasurer? Hearing no questions for the treasurer, and the fact that it's not required to be voted on, we'll move on to the next item, which is new business update. And we have a presentation about new attraction video production. And I believe,
If it's okay,
I forgot, I apologize, I got too far ahead of myself.
We'll
and-
move that to under existing business if that's okay with everyone.
If there's no objection, we're going to move new attraction video, which is now currently item 6 alpha. We're going to move that to under the existing business, which is number 8. So we'll move on unless there's other new business.
Oh, no, there is new business.
There is new business, okay?
Yes.
So we
And
will,
I have an
Please.
update for you, but I might like to cede some of my time to Dr. Rayleigh. Did you want to speak or no? I didn't know if you were updating on the meeting happening tomorrow.
Good evening and welcome. Thank you for the opportunity to speak just for a minute. Just as a reminder, when you do speak, to turn your microphones on so they turn green. But yes, an important meeting in our community tomorrow night at 6 o'clock at Goochland High School. I'm sure all of you have received a letter outlining 2 different goals that the board is considering related to ordinance amendments. One related specifically to the prohibition of data centers outside of the technology overlay district, and then another goal that would update the technology overlay district ordinance as a result of new General Assembly legislation, as well as an opportunity to re-adopt the technology overlay district through a second public process. So there are 2 pre-applications. Have signed as an authorized agent of the board, as well as 2 initiating resolutions that the board is going to consider at their September 1st meeting. Tomorrow is a community meeting related to those pre-applications, so it's open to the public. It will be live streamed, and welcome anybody that wants to be a part of the process.
are there any questions for our county administrator? Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
very much.
Then I have a PowerPoint. It should, yes, there you go. Yours displaying?
Did it not turn
Okay,
on?
that one doesn't work. Okay. I will use this. So I have a few projects that we have either started to review or have moved through the review. Some of these aren't working. Do we need to turn them on? Yours is working, right?
That's when I'm out of town in October. Just in case there's someone around for that.
Thank you. Okay, so can everyone see? Thank you. All right, so as I was saying, I have a few projects that I'm just going to go over. We may have talked about 1 or 2 previously, but they're moving through the process. Just wanted to let you know when upcoming community meetings or planning commission public hearings are happening. So the first one is CLM Acquisitions. It's an application for 10.6 acres to rezone to M1 for warehouse and office use with a conditional use permit for outdoor storage. It's at 2308 Ashland Road, and so this is, you're going Ashland Road towards Pouncey Tract, right before Pouncey Tract, right before the Goochland County line. They're at the Hanover-Goochland County line. So this is their proposal, some flex warehouse space with parking in the front and loading in the rear. And, oh, hold on, I don't have my notes on the screen. But I believe the Planning Commission public hearing is September 17th. Let me pull that up so I can make sure I'm telling you the right thing. Yes. So KRLB Real Estate Holdings, this again is on Ashland Road, about approximately 18 acres, and a request to rezone to M2 industrial. This also will have a public hearing at the September 17th Planning Commission meeting. And here's the location. If you're again going towards Pouncey Track, it's right before Johnson Road. And they have two concept plans that they have shown, some smaller lot industrial for smaller buildings, some flex space there, and then another option of one larger 152,000 square foot industrial building. And then the last one, I believe, is the Asgard Broad Street Properties LLC. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
On the other one? On the other one, so they're requesting a rezoning to M1, but they still have to do a CUP for the outdoor storage?
That is my understanding. Yes.
All right.
So the last one, Asgard Broad Street Properties 1 LLC. It's a request to rezone to interchange commercial B3. The community meeting for this project, which is to rezone approximately 20 acres, was held last evening. So don't have a specific concept plan here, but it's along Broad Street and 288 as you're going towards Short Pump, right before you get to 288. And so this would be for some industrial style, commercial, and retail uses. And this is just the parcel map showing those rezonings.
Are there any questions? Please.
Did that say residential as well?
No.
Suburban, residential, and commercial. Oh, that's a comp plan. Okay, gotcha.
Yes.
Proposed use just commercial. Okay, cool.
Are there any other questions for our director?
I have more updates. just
Oh,
so you
please.
know.
May I ask two questions then
Yes,
on
please.
these two? I assume on the first two properties, the seismic, there's no seismic issue with regards to the blasting or anything, and our plan didn't, what we funded did not play into that at all.
For these two parcels, no, they're going to be similar to Axial as far as the warehouse development. So no.
And then the third property, is it still in negotiations for the 230 kV line coming down the east side of that property?
I don't have an exact answer on what was decided on where that line will go
Okay,
on that property, if it'll scoot closer to 288 or not. I apologize, but I'm sure someone has that answer and I can get it for you.
thank you very much.
So the last few updates I have for you, October 15th, we would like to schedule, if it's okay with everyone's schedule, at 5 o'clock, a joint work session with the Planning Commission to receive training from the Sheriff and our county attorney on safety protocols for public meetings. So if anyone can't attend, if you could just email me or let me know, but tentatively scheduled for October 15th at 5 o'clock. October work session, as I mentioned, if we could schedule a time either tonight or get some dates to schedule one in the near future to go over a few things that we have talked about previously, and then a new item. As you've probably heard, the county is working on their strategic plan update, and part of that is they're going around into various groups and doing SWOT analysis, strength, weakness, opportunity, and threats, and they would like to do that with the EDA at an October work session, if that's okay with everyone. And then potentially continue a conversation on the NDA SOP and bylaw updates. And then if anyone has anything else they'd like to talk in a work session format, we can add that to the agenda. Did you have? No, okay. The legislative agenda discussion is scheduled for September 1st at 1 o'clock to 2:30 at Central High School. I know that our chair is attending, or will you be there? Okay. I've put at each of your places our 6-month economic development update. It was requested that we provide some information on what we've been working on the past 6 months, and we're going to do this every 6 months. And so you have that in front of you. Happy to answer any questions. Feel free to email me or call me if you want to talk about any of it. And then lastly, Mr. Robinson has scheduled a Port of Virginia tour down in Norfolk on September 30th, which is also now a meeting that we'll be having. And we're trying to see if that can be opened up to EDA members. We believe that we could bring some EDA members along with us. If the port is fine with that, please email me and let me know if you would be interested in attending.
What was the
And
date?
so, September 30th. The tour is from 11 to 1, but we would obviously need to leave here early. If you would like to come, please email me.
Well,
And we
just
will
quick
confirm.
consensus, anybody, I would be interested. So I think,
Okay.
so what we'll do is work with council to get the proper notice in terms of us all attending the event.
And that concludes my report. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The training on the 15th is at 5 o'clock.
Are there any further questions for our director? Hearing none, let's move on then to tourism.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the EDA. Just for the record, Chance Robinson, Assistant Director of Economic Development. I will go ahead and get started with the tourism update. Just a few updates today. So we recently went through and got selected through for a VTC, Virginia Tourism Corporation, co-op program. To develop a new tourism video around kind of our tourism assets to use directly for tourism marketing. What we are doing is we're working with a company called Collector Studios. They are based out of Richmond. They've done a lot of work with VTC. It's a $15,000 value that we are paying $7,500, and VTC is paying the other $7,500. We are working with Parks and Rec as well as County Marketing and Communications on that, so that it can be used, both for an opportunity to promote tourism, opportunity to highlight our parks and recreation opportunities, as well as just general county awareness for residents as well. So we're very excited to be participating with that with VTC. We started having conversations with Collector Studios last week and working on kind of a creative directive right now, hoping to shoot that for this fall. We are working on our VTC grant that we received. The campaign will launch in November around our wedding venues. So we updated the wedding page recently. I've sent over a bunch of photos to Advanced Travel and Tourism, who's our marketing partner for that. They're creating the ads for it, and those will be going on Meta and Pinterest. So excited to be working on that. And then did you introduce Emma?
Oh, I'm so sorry.
First, my last update is that Emma will be working on launching a beverage trail this fall, similar to the Richmond West Trail that went away last year. We're looking to take it over just for Goochland to really highlight our craft beverage. If you're wondering who's Emma, Emma is our new economic development specialist for the county. She started on Monday, and we're very excited to have her. And that's all I have for tourism.
Are there any questions for tourism? Please
Okay.
proceed.
I did want to ask for your preference. I have my traditional existing business updates, and I also have this presentation. Which one would you guys prefer to go first?
Any preference?
I'll
Roll the dice.
I'll fly through with my my traditional. So over the past month, we've had several BRE visits with different businesses. Just to highlight a few, Rachel Duke Injectables, who's actually expanding. They were featured in BizSense last week. They are expanding and bought a half of a building in the Creekmore medical offices over on Patterson Avenue. We're very excited for that. Nora and I got to go over to Vulcan's Quarry in Rockville and go down to the pit. So it's always fun to visit a quarry. Myself and my partner at VDP Went to Strickland to look at their update on all their expansion, their buildings up. They're hoping to be moved in, I think October is kind of their timeline. Nora and I went out. I got Nora a tour of Rossawick to kind of see, allow her to see all the tourism potential out there. And then yesterday, I took Emma on her first BRE visit. We went to a business called Cutform Labs. They started last year. They are a kind of a metal artwork design and manufacturer over on Warehouse Lane. Kind of looking at them to ways to build their business development opportunities. So that was a very nice visit. And so other BRE visits, but I will digress on those. CTE Roundtable. So Goochland County Public Schools is having their CTE Roundtable on September 16th at the Residence Inn. The topic is going to be focused on the addition, the 30,000 square foot addition, and kind of what do businesses want to see put into that space. I will send out calendar invites to you guys, so it's on your calendar invites tomorrow morning. We are continuing to promote farm tours on September 19th. We have pushed it out on social media. I've been seeing good views in our Google Analytics for the page. It was in the Goochland Gazette today. We've sent it out to different ag organizations, so really trying to promote it. Next month, we'll be starting our industrial park walks. So starting at Midpoint, and then in October we'll end in Lanier. So that's just every week or every other week. I go out, kind of walk through, try to spend 10 or 15 minutes per business with just ask a few questions, see how business is, see if there's any issues they need. And so that's a really good way, one, to make sure we get in touch with our industrial businesses, but two, to also see, who's coming in and out of our industrial parks right now. We are still working with fire and on a cistern conversation for water cistern in our industrial parks, especially the Old Dominion and Goochland Industrial Park. We're looking to have a meeting. Fire is looking to host a meeting for the businesses. I believe it's September 29th, and we're planning to send out invites for that very soon. Sheltering Arms, we've been updating you guys on, they're looking to refinance their bonds. They plan to come in October to the October EDA meeting to talk a little bit about their timeline and their needs from the EDA for the bonds. And one thing I do want to highlight, I've been working with my kind of regional colleagues in economic development on a insurance industry summit for workforce. It's been myself, Henrico EDA has been spearheading it, Greater Richmond Partnership, VDP, Chesterfield Economic Development, to kind of create a summit for workforce for the insurance industry. Insurance is a very large industry in the region, but in Goochland County, finance and insurance is our #1 employee industry by the data. And so we've been collaborating. We'll be having an industry summit on October 14th, where students from all around colleges and local universities will come in, kind of hear some panel speakers about insurance, why it's a good industry to go through and everything. There'll be kind of a pseudo job fair there. So that's just something I've been kind of working on the side with some of my colleagues with some regional collaboration. That's everything I have on my traditional updates. I stop and ask questions before I hop into this presentation.
Are there any questions?
What time is the CTE roundtable?
8 a.m. And it's at the Residence Inn. Great. So last month, I had brought up to you that we had been looking at different ways to increase our kind of economic development attraction. And one of these ways is with a new video. When I presented to you all, you asked me to come in and bring a little bit more information. So I've been talking with different vendors that kind of focus on economic development videos and getting kind of quotes and proposals to see if you guys had any interest in potentially funding some of it or all of it. So I will go ahead and get started. A little background, the last video was produced in April of 2023, with that video being focused on local business climate and testimonials. This video was used for an audience extension campaign with trade and industry development, and it's featured on our website. Our new video, kind of where we think we would focus more on general business attraction, highlighting new economic development space and infrastructure. We would use this video to update our audience extension campaign, have dedicated short form videos to use on social media and a banner video for the website potentially, and to have it also as an attachment for RFI responses to site selectors and business executives. We've really, when you look at it, and we've talked about this before, even with what Mrs. Amos brought up with the additional warehouses coming. We have a lot of warehouse space coming to the county right now, a lot of spec industrial, that it's a good opportunity for us to use that. Previously, we really didn't have that kind of asset to leverage in our marketing. And so we kind of see this video as an opportunity to highlight some of that. Kind of the why, video is a very effective method to tell the story of economic development in Goochland and drive audiences to our website. If you would like, I have the link there for our old video if you guys would like to just kind of see it real quick. We don't have to watch all of it.
Please.
Oh, does this mouse not work? Can you click on that link real quick? Yes. Does it have sound? Yes.
Across America, countless communities are redefining how families live and businesses operate, often set against picturesque landscapes. These up-and-coming communities are regions thriving with opportunity and economic growth. Goochland County, nestled in the heart of Virginia, is one such example. With its close proximity to the city of Richmond, this hidden gem is attracting residents and business owners alike.
The word is getting out that Goochland is a great place to live. Our proximity to Richmond and Charlottesville and DC offers something very unique that people are really starting to be attracted to, which is you can have the proximity to the amenities of a bigger city lifestyle while still being able to come out to the country to have your piece of the planet where you can enjoy and live the lifestyle that you want to live. Recently, we've seen that we are the 10th fastest growing by population in the state and the second in the Richmond region. That comes with a responsibility, and that responsibility to keep Goochland rural, which is a demand of our citizens, requires us to have the right mix of commercial and residential.
From corporate headquarters to life sciences to agriculture to advanced manufacturing, Goochland County has a diverse and robust economy for all sectors of business.
Relocating or investing in Goochland is a sound strategy based on our transportation hub. We have access to major interstates such as 64, 95, 288, and 295. We have great proximity to the airport, which makes international business a possibility. We have access to the ports of Richmond and the Port of Virginia. Our geographic situation is prime for any business to come and operate successfully with a great transportation system. When looking to come to a new region, economic stability is important. Goochland has proven time and time again that our fiscal responsibility makes it attractive for businesses to come. We have the highest rating possible from the top 3 rating agencies in the country, which makes us the smallest locality with the coveted triple. And that ensures businesses that where they're coming is financially responsible and will be a good partner for them.
My grandfather started our business in Richmond in 1923, but it wasn't long before he looked to Goochland. He bought a quarry here, and that became our start here in Goochland County. We, from a product standpoint, crush stone that goes into roads and asphalt and schools and highways and sidewalks, but we say that we're in the people business. We have a mission that is about people, and our mission is about igniting human
All right,
potential
I think we can go ahead and
through
pause that. The
values-based
rest of the
leadership.
video kind of follows that same method of testimonials. So I spoke with 5 different firms about this, and so I will go ahead and get started. You're good. So the first company I spoke with, they're called Neon Cloud Productions. They're a dedicated economic development video production firm that's produced over 1,000 economic development videos. Their goal is to customize kind of motion graphic solutions to show the strategic location, workforce, available opportunities surrounding the property that makes a company want to move there. I asked them to provide me with 2 proposals just because with kind of their motion graphic background and everything, it could get quite expensive. So the quote one was just under $19,000, and quote two was right at $35,000. And kind of a little bit of highlight of the deliverables and differences between the quotes. So quote one is a foundational video package for a 2 to 3 minute foundational video with it's going to have less animated graphics, maps, and video features. And I have some video examples to kind of share with you guys so you guys can understand kind of how they tell their story. Quote two is a connected growth corridor package, pulling that straight from them, with several motion graphics, multiple maps, a website banner video, short social media loops, and all the provided raw photos and footage. And they also provide training on how to utilize these videos through organic social media postings. So I'm going to go ahead and, can you pull up the...
Not touch it anymore. Obviously very sensitive.
Go ahead and just pull up the town of Zebulon would be fine.
Where's the company based out of?
They're based out of Dallas. You can read this. So with UC, they do a lot of focus on kind of these maps that kind of come in, show kind of where the area is, and then it zooms in on different industrial areas. These are kind of the motion graphics that they focus on. Then they get a lot of drone video overlooking. They really focus on using video. Kind of this is to tell where the town of Zebulon is compared to downtown Raleigh. You've got the graphic map on the right overlooking. So something that's really cool is you see that to the top right, that entertainment complex, that isn't built right now, so that's something they were able to put in using their technology, so they can put in building renderings and things like that to show future development. So yeah, like I said, their big focus is kind of making things pop with motion graphics. All right, I think that's good, Trent. If we can go back to the PowerPoint, that'd be great. And there's other examples, happy to share with you guys in the future or however we would like to proceed. I'll go ahead and jump to the next company we spoke to. Golden Shovel Agency, they are kind of one of the biggest names in economic development marketing in general. Their big thing is economic development websites, but also economic development marketing campaigns, but they also provide video services. They have experience working with economic development organizations all over the country. If you go to any economic development conference, you're going to see them there with a booth. So the proposal came in at just over $20,000. Deliverables include, the community FAM tour video for site selection, social media, paid ad videos, and unlimited B-roll footage to use, and 3 fully edited website banners. So I will go ahead and pull up kind of one of their works. I think the Chippewa Economic Development Corporation is a pretty good video. They kind of were hired to kind of highlight an industrial park and industrial site that this economic development organization was pushing.
Welcome to the Stanley West Industrial Park, a prime business location on the east side of the Chippewa Valley in Wisconsin. The park offers over 100 acres of certified shovel-ready land, centrally located between Minneapolis, St. Paul, Green Bay, and Chicago, providing easy access via rail and highways. Stanley's location within Wisconsin's Highway 29 corridor is defined as a safe place where industry, agriculture, and a sense of community coexist. Our top-rated schools and proximity to universities like the University of Wisconsin-Stout, University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire, and Chippewa Valley Technical College ensure a ready-to-work skilled local workforce. Stanley, Wisconsin has made a strong commitment to helping businesses succeed. For example, Northside Elevators thrives using Stanley West Industrial Park's infrastructure. It's also certified as a Wisconsin shovel-ready site, boasting ample land and business-friendly zoning, powered by the Chippewa Valley Electric Cooperative. We're more than a community. We're your partners for success, fostering collaboration and communication. Your success story begins here in Stanley, Wisconsin. Contact Chippewa Valley Electric Cooperative and the Chippewa Economic Development Corporation for site selection assistance and detailed information.
If you can head back to the PowerPoint center. There's a few other examples that we can go over if you guys are interested, but I'll jump next to PPR Strategies. They are a marketing public relations firm focused on economic development. They've actually worked with Goochland County Economic Development in the past. They helped us launch the Explore Goochland brand in Q4 2022 and Q1 2023. Their quote came in between $17,400 to $18,600, depending on the final product and kind of the video and sound qualities. So the deliverables is 1 2-minute signature video that will be kind of an anchor piece with primary storytelling and weaving in the industrial sites with 3 or 4 individual 30-second industrial site videos on specific ones that we'd like to focus on. And so their example video comes from Charles County, Maryland. PPR Strategies is based in Maryland.
The Western Charles County Technology Corridor in Maryland, where innovation, talent, and opportunity converge. Close to Washington, D.C., and home to the Naval Surface Warfare Center Indian Head Division, the corridor plays a vital role in national defense. Innovation hubs like the Maryland Technology Center provide space for tech, R&D, and energetics companies. NSW is home to 5,000 civilian employees and a strategic national defense ecosystem. Charles County is ready for what's next.
Thank you. And you can just head back to the PowerPoint. Just one more slide here. So local companies, as best as we can, we try to find local companies to provide quotes for services. We spoke with 2 local marketing firms. One is Addison Clark, and the other is Diecast Media. Both provide marketing video services. They didn't provide any formal quotes, but provided me with different price points. And those price points for the local firms ranged anywhere from just over $3,000 to $15,000, depending on the end video. They don't have too much experience in economic development, a little bit kind of things that are adjacent. So Diecast Media, they did work with New Kent Economic Development for their Voices in New Kent series, which was kind of a placemaking series focused quality of life in New Kent. And then Addison Clark recently did a video for Virginia Urology for attracting workforce to Richmond. I don't have examples of those for this, unfortunately, but so those are kind of just the 2 local companies we talked with. And so the question, that's kind of everything I have. Wanted to kind of, bring you guys some of the examples that we've seen, some of the best practices, and just kind of get your thoughts on any interest from you all to fund partially, fully, whatever your guys' thoughts are.
Any questions, please?
Chance, it just occurred to me, not in terms of which one we would choose or how we go and stuff like that, but just in terms of what we're looking for. We've done some work on Virginia Tech, finding out what we should be, for lack of a better way of describing it, and other things, looking at what makes Goochland special. When I look at some of these videos as examples, they're not a criticism, but they're fairly generic. They don't, they don't want to be the champion of whatever. They're just saying, hey, we're a good place to do business. We got farms, we got small towns, we got all this stuff. Are we going to join the data that we've collected on what it is that makes Goochland special and where we should be going with the video.
Yeah, definitely. That would definitely be something we'd work with them on to provide them with the data needed. I think kind of that first video you saw from Neon Cloud kind of did some of that highlighting of that major campus that they have that makes Zebulon special. I think one of the big things is kind of showing our general location with Richmond, our transportation access, which was highlighted in kind of both the first two videos. And so, no, that's definitely something we would work with whoever the vendor is to make sure we get the point across and tell our story how we want to tell it. I think the other thing when you say, things are kind of generic, one thing you do want with a video is to have it be a little bit evergreen. You don't want it to be, old within a year. So, having a little bit of that genericism and evergreen where you're still telling your story, you're showing, hey, we've got sites here. That way, 2 years down the line, site selector sees it, gives us a call, asks about one site. We can say, hey, that site's gone, but this other site that was highlighted in the video, we have this other 50 acres that kind of meets your requirement and needs. So there is a little bit, when you talk with them, generic's not a great word, but you want it to have a little bit of evergreenness.
Other questions, please?
Yes. Would there be an opportunity for us to revise the video? Let's say we have 4 listings of available properties and then one gets off the market, like you just mentioned. Could we revise that with a new property?
Yeah, I think we'd have to kind of talk with whoever the vendor is to do that. It would kind of depend. I think, kind of what I was addressing with Mrs. Schmidt is you do try to make it evergreen enough and, broad enough that it does last. And if a property does go, you still have different sites and things to show. But no, that's definitely something we can talk with about in the contract and vendors. It would depend on kind of who the vendor is.
Please.
What was the time frame that they can kick out something like this?
It's usually, we can get them on ground for videography. A couple of companies I talked to within a month, 6 weeks, and then one of the timelines that they send me a full timeline, it's about a 13-week process.
Was there one company in particular that you felt most comfortable with, that you think would produce the best products, not just one product? Because it sounds like we need more than one product.
Yes. I really liked with the first two, Neon Cloud and Golden Shovel, I really liked that they provided us with social media loops that we can use, as well as website banner videos, which I think that, having a nice banner video on your website, it's kind of a best practice you see in economic development websites right now. So it'd be good to have that asset to try to fold into our website. And so, that's my thought. I thought both of those videos were very well done. But I think all three have their pros and their cons.
2 things. For one, I strongly prefer a Virginia company. I hate it when government doesn't keep money in the state.
Yeah, and I understand that, and that's why we kind of talk to those local companies. But when you are kind of doing something very niche, you kind of want to get experts in the field of telling this story. Telling the stories, knowing kind of how site selectors are going to want to see this, and the story that site selectors want to know and executives want to know.
I think those Virginia companies do exist. I know for a fact they do. So I would love to see us.
Do you have any recommendations on a company?
Yeah, I can get some names together.
Okay,
for
that'd be
sure.
great.
Yeah. And the other thing would be with the Rito. Are we going? What I don't want to see happen is us approve this video and then the Rito go, oh, by the way, we're going to do a video now, and then we are paying for another video with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just want to make sure that fits into the big plans with everything else, and that we're not doubling our efforts here.
Yeah, with the Rito, that'd be something for Mrs. Amos to address.
What is your absolute ask tonight? Is it just for consideration? Is it for generalized consensus? What are your thoughts?
I would say, generalized consensus would be great, or any kind of thoughts on what you guys would be willing to spend, just so that we can kind of work the numbers a little bit and figure out, what kind of video we can produce and talk with the vendors a little bit more and kind of see how, if this is something you guys are interested, how would you guys want us to move forward with it coming from the EDA?
Is there any money in the county budget that we could match
Yeah, I think, again, I would say, I would point to Mrs. Amos to go with that since she's the director for the department when it comes to the county budget.
Okay, I'll answer Ms. Slade's question first, which was,
Rito.
no, Rito, thank you. I think we answered the local question, so the Rito question. We have not talked about doing a video. In particular, we've decided in the first year we would not do a video. That is not to say if Amelia and Powhatan wanted to bring it forward that we wouldn't discuss that in year 2. But that would come back to you all as well. And then the second item on if we have local budgeted funds, we did not specifically budget for this video. We could for next year, but those funds would not be available until July 1st. We could rearrange some of our other marketing funds to cover a portion of this. I don't have that exact number.
So at this time, it would be for the full amount you're asking for the EDA?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I have one question. Do we know what the amount spent was on the prior video? Was that in '23?
I believe it was 25,000.
And did you mention who that firm was? Forgive me, I don't recall.
Viewpoint. It was Viewpoint. They're a production company. They make those types of videos to kind of provide advertisements for public television.
Is it the goal to be a generic across the county type approach, or is it specific on particular land parcels?
I think the old video or the new video?
New video.
I think the new video we would focus more on our growth areas and our economic development areas, especially with spec industrial spaces coming in.
Okay. May we develop a consensus, a generalized consensus?
On what, so whether we go forward with?
To proceed. I assume you're not looking for a specific dollar amount at this point, or am I incorrect in that?
It would be good if we could have a not to exceed at this point.
Yeah,
and then
that's what I was
once we work out the contract, we can bring that back to you.
I would assume at or below what we paid for the last one.
So
Just my opinion.
could we entertain a motion so we could discuss it and,
Are we there yet? Because I'm not sure if we want.
What was the second company's budget?
Their proposal came in at $20,100.
And the first one, what we really, there were two,
Yeah,
One
they
for-
provided 2 quotes. One is $18,925,000, and the other is $35,000.
which didn't give really the smaller one, the lower one did not give the website videos.
Yeah, and the social media loops and things like that. It's just the foundational video.
And did the second company provide the?
Yes, the second company does provide that. I would say the biggest difference between the first and the second company is this first company has, like I said, has a lot more focus on animated graphics, which costs more money to produce. And that's kind of where that price difference is.
I do have a question, if that's okay. Has there been, at a prior meeting, that there was like a visioning plan or strategic writing for the county? So if you have a recent one, it probably would be a good idea to just review that, just so that if you're trying to implement that visioning statement or long-term strategy, then you can focus on the kind of message that the ED wants to pursue. So, for example, I know that with other EDAs, IDAs, they'll focus on what they're talking about. Like other places will say automotive manufacturing or this type of stuff. So you can get more guidance from these companies. The question that I would just put out there for you to think about is who is really in charge of the message? Are they going to be writing the script? I mean, clearly they're going to do all the mechanics and putting the video, the production value into it. But you know, it's also how well they actually tell the story. How much time are they going to spend in researching it or you know, how much interaction there is going to be, because if not, you might get a generic message, and, you know, so you got to look at that. The other thing that I would also point out is there might be some other resources out there, maybe VEDP, and just say, when you are trying to market bigger pieces of property, what kind of video materials would you recommend? And, you know, so that's free advice that you can talk to them. They're the ones who deal with a lot of the site selectors that a lot of localities don't even know about, right? And so they're already getting some feedback as to what has the most impact on what kind of video. So I know that in some of my other clients, what they did was for particular big pieces of property, they had footage taken with the drones and the like, and then that was just belonging to the client, so that if they need to specialize that they can use that and reincorporate. And sometimes they will give you quotes on re-edits. So if they have to do supplements, and if we need to insert here a different piece of property to highlight or focus, then you already know what the price is, and you won't have to renegotiate that. And from a legal perspective, the only thing that we need to make sure that in that contract is who owns the footage. Yeah. So that footage really needs to belong to the EDA, so that if we have to pick somebody else, we can just give them this footage, then they can incorporate that into to a new or revised video.
And just to piggyback on that real quick, I had that same thought that this feels premature before the strategic plan. Like how are we gonna make a video when we don't know where we're going exactly?
Yes, so our strategic plan was updated last in 2019. Our intention is, as part of the county strategic plan update, which should finish next June, is that maybe next spring we would start to update our economic development strategic plan. But we do know, I mean, obviously our key target sectors have changed since 2019. I think we're pretty attuned to what those key sectors would be, but we could definitely have a further conversation on it.
Because I know that for other localities, the site selectors aren't just looking for size, right? They're looking for certain markets, proximity to other big cities. And so to get the bigger bang for the buck, you know, I think that you should consider looking at what that strategic plan ultimately looks like. And, you know, if it's changed, it's changed. And then you can determine based on that how specific or how broad an audience you're going to look at. Because if you're just looking for people, site selectors who might just randomly be going onto your webpage, that's pretty hit or miss, and it's not really targeted that way. So
we would use this video for targeted ad campaigns. We wouldn't just be posting it to our website just to have it on our website and organic media. We run an audience extension campaign with trade and industry development. And then we also have a video on their webpage. We've worked with Site Selection Magazine as well in the past. So we do targeted campaigns with these. And then a lot of our targeted campaigns, what we do is we drive them to a specific landing page on our website that you can't find unless you go through the ad, so that we can track that via Google Analytics. And we also have the video live there as well.
Then based on that feedback, it seems that one thing for the board to consider is to say, at this point, it might just be you need the generic one first, and then just have something that's flexible enough so that when you settle all these things, then you can modify this video. And if the content creators have that in mind, you can negotiate a good deal. Just make sure that the contract is clear that the EDA owns the footage and the intellectual property.
Yes.
Did you want to?
I do.
Please.
Thank you. Hi, EDA. Sarah Worley, Deputy County Administrator. So when we did the video last time, we wrote the script, and I think most videos it's pretty common that we're able to write that script because we're really the owners of this video, and to Mr. Guanzam's point, we do want to own that footage. I did see in one of the proposals they offered all the B-roll, so we would have that to be able to make our own videos. We have some capability in-house to do that as well. I believe what the Economic Development Department wants to do here is to create targeted videos for our speculative space that we have coming on market. And so getting drone footage out there and maybe some images of those buildings and being very specific so we can specifically get that to the site selectors who we know are looking for that type of space, and vendors and suppliers for Lilly is really what we're targeting here. And so knowing that we have 1.5 million square feet of spec space coming online, that's where we want to target. So I think the larger question of our vision and things like that, yes, those things are very important, but that's not what this video is supposed to be about. This video is supposed to be about targeted attraction to our spec space that we're trying to attract to right now.
Thank you. So is there a motion to consider, or do we want to just defer concept?
I have a question. Jenny, did you want to ask more for more local resources? Maybe have them go back and
I definitely think
and
that
maybe that'd be the next step.
we should be good stewards and keep the money in the state of Virginia, for sure. But one other question, what's the property owner's involvement? So this is for the spec spaces that are currently being built, correct?
Correct.
Is
And
there
that's
any,
under development.
any involvement from the property owners on this, or?
No, we haven't really talked to them about it. They have their own marketing materials out. We definitely ask them for renderings and things like that to include in video information. But that would be kind of their involvement in it.
Can I see if I've got this? With Sarah's comments, we have enough information on what we're looking for, at least in the short term, because I was concerned about the strategic plan as well, and getting crossways with that. But we have enough. We have enough targets there to make this video worthwhile in the short run, because it seems to me that the life of it is not very long. We're going to be redoing this. If I got it, or am I not making sense?
I understand what you're saying. I believe we can figure out the narrative and everything to one, focus on the spec spaces and have short loops that show those, but also create a general video that has a little bit of life to it, that shows incoming infrastructure to the county that's going to make it more business friendly. Talk about, new businesses coming to the county with Lilly and Amazon and others. And so I think there's an opportunity here to kind of do both and kind of have a focus on our upcoming spec industrial space.
This gets back to my earlier question. We've done a lot of work on developing what it is we're looking for.
Yes.
And it seems to me this video has got to have some of that in there. And that, we've been on this road for a while, and we had some successes, and now we need to fill in some gaps, and we need to basically continue on with the data we've been developing. And is that the type of video we're looking at?
Yeah, I think, yes, you're on the right track. I think we're looking at a video that we can use to do very targeted marketing to send to suppliers and vendors.
So it's independent of the strategic plan. It's just basically tactical.
Yes.
I've got another question. Are these actively listed as available, or are they coming on the market? The properties that we're looking to promote.
Yeah, two of them are. The third one went through a what's it called? Went through Planning Commission for conceptual master plan approval last month, and it's worked moving forward.
My question is, what about the listing agents, the commercial real estate agents? Do they have any type of video or promotional stuff that they publish?
They have their own promotional brochures and websites, but that's usually about the most you're going to get out of them.
Could we in turn use that, if they had a video of the property, could we partner with them to use that to promote in the areas that we promote for our site selectors? Is that something we could partner with?
We can talk to them about it. I think, the other potential there is they're also competitors with the other brokers who are showing, the other spec spaces in the county. And so I think, one, we want to show these spaces, but we also want to show,
our way
why to do it in Goochland. why to do business.
One thing to consider, and I think that was what was brought up, is these properties aren't owned by the EDA, correct? I mean, so really what we would be trying to do is try to get incentive package for them to come here, to create the jobs, to make the infrastructure that's taxable, and the tax revenue will go back to Goochland. I mean, that's the way how a lot of the EDAs will work, other than a free marketing arm for these these private owners of land. So, and with all these brokers and the like, I mean, that's where the money comes from, their commission. They're the ones who pay for their marketing materials to actually list on their websites as to what these property things are. So if we're actually helping them to sell or rent their properties for a certain purpose that's not really an economic development, then to me, we could ask a contribution for them to pay for that, right?
That's what I was thinking, like a co-op, like you do
Yeah,
co-op marketing.
You could do that, and then, because if you think about it, if not, then you're using public dollars to assist in a private enterprise, because so for example, if we're here to increase the tax revenues for the county ultimately, or create jobs, then that's how you usually tie it in. So you look at what the EDA can do, right? We have ability to get grants that they're not gonna be able to get. We have the ability to get loans at more favorable rates. And we have the ability, if we purchase the property and lease it to them and have that as part of the incentives. So, again, I guess what I'm saying is that the ask would be, please come to Goochland to make economic development. So for example, that's the reason that for solar doesn't really create any jobs, or solar doesn't have a lot of tax value. So my point is that, again, I apologize that I get off on this, off center. But my point is, because this is a private enterprise, and if we don't have a stake in it other than secondary benefits to the county, then I think you might want to consider, please come here because the EDA can do this for you. Versus something that the Chamber of Commerce would say, please join our business community, which I think the message is a little bit different, because really at the end of the day, the EDA is one vehicle that can bring in tax dollars and new jobs, versus just trying to assist an existing company to be successful so they can rent their space to ancillary supportive businesses of these other businesses that are already here.
Yeah, I would just like to clarify quickly, Mr. Wanzam. Thank you for that. The space is not occupied by existing businesses. The space is open and spec or not to be built. And we are trying to recruit businesses to increase our tax base to fill those empty buildings right now. And so that's a little bit of the difference there.
I apologize, I'm just trying to get the background information.
That's okay.
because-
Yep, so I think what we would like to do is to go back and see if we can find some Virginia companies with the help of Mrs. Slade, and then bring back a proposal that we think the staff, and maybe see if we can drill down more with a couple of those companies, maybe get a little bit of better price, and bring back a Virginia proposal next month for further consideration.
Thank you very much for that explanation.
One thing also, if we are going to be hand-picking, for properties or however that is to promote, please make sure that we can update that and refresh it. Because if another one comes on, we definitely, if that's how we're going to pitch this and promote these properties.
Yeah, and I think I think what site selectors like to see is a lot of choices. So if we just throw a bunch of choices out there, it actually attracts them, and then they'll give us, really, we're trying to get them to call us and to get their attention. So if they call us and get their attention and say, hey, I like this site, I'm sorry, that site's been taken by this wonderful company, but we have X, Y, and Z sites available. Really, we're just trying to get them in the door. It's, yeah.
I'd like to add, not only would we like to help fill these spec spaces, but having ownership of the video and the opportunity to target who we're sending this video to, we're able to fill, ideally, these spec spaces with users that we would prefer to have, so that meet some of our target sectors. Whereas right now, the local agents may have a smaller realm that they're working in. If we use this video, we can expand who we may be able to target.
So with that being said, and you have another.
I do have a question based off of what you said too, and what you just said. So they all have agents. All these spec places have agents. So we would be advertising to then send somebody to that agent for that agent to then make commission off of us doing their job. Is that correct?
Potentially, yes, and I think
Just wanna
we're
make sure I
narrowing down on a small portion of the video. Yes, we would highlight that we have all this speculative property because that's really fantastic, and counties across the country would love to have 1.5 million plus another million probably under review of space to fill. It's a great problem we have, but it's not going to be the whole video. We're still talking about
Right.
Goochland, the location,
But
why to
these
come here, our
buildings
values.
Are
and
being built currently?
Some of the buildings are being built
So they will
currently, some
already
are
owe
under
property
review.
taxes, whether there's people in there or not, the property tax already exists?
Correct.
So we're advertising to bring in personal property tax and.
jobs
And
and
jobs more
jobs
than anything?
machinery and tools.
Users
We,
that we would.
we don't get the
like.
full property tax until that there's a CO. So when it's a spec building, they get a temporary certificate of occupancy. It's assessed at a lower rate until
Right.
there's a
Right,
person,
but
a
that tax
business.
base already exists. and
But it's at a
that
lower rate.
company already has incentive to fill that space because they're not making money if there's nobody in there anyways. So I just want to make sure I understand the full picture there.
That is true, but they are not incentivized to bring in someone who brings high-paying jobs, high personal property taxes, and users that complement, say, for example, an Eli Lilly or other.
They're looking for a
businesses that
tenant
work-
who'll
They're just
pay.
looking for
Yeah.
any tenant.
Right.
And again, the world that they're working in is very small, where we would be able to work nationally and internationally, especially if we're able to share this with VEDP.
But if you look at some of the VEDP videos, you know, they talk about the workforce, they talk about the education capacity, they talk about access to healthcare, they talked about access to transportation to coming in. So those are the companies that you want because they're the ones who are actually going to bring the big jobs, not just, you know, some smaller retail jobs. So there's a lot of benefit for doing this. I'm just saying that depending on if you're having a targeted area or to highlight the things that the EDA could do for them, I'm not saying you will. So if you have an enterprise zone, you can talk about enterprise zone. If you have access to certain grant money that's provided on a statewide, that'd be something that really good to highlight because then they're saying, well, if I'm trying to select from this location, this community versus another community, that's going to be the other piece that they're going to be looking for if they're really doing economic development versus an existing company that's in here that's just looking for space in Goochland.
With that being said, since I don't hear a motion, I'll make a motion that we, the Goochland Economic Development Authority, approve up to $30,000 for the creation of a video, and that the preference would be that the company, the marketing video company, would be within the Commonwealth of Virginia, and that we own the rights to the video and any other ancillary marketing information. And is there a second?
Second.
So we can continue our discussion now. I don't like having discussion without a motion of some sort. So is there further discussion on the motion?
I would still recommend that we wait and come back with an update with that. One more thing I wanted to clarify. From what I gathered is, in the video, there would be 2 minutes of general information about the county and the workforce and all of those key factors. And then built into that commercial, in there would be a blurb about the available properties as part of that video.
Yeah,
correct?
I think.
So the first 2 minutes or so, the majority of it would be about the county itself, and then
I would think it can work a few different ways where, it has it layered in where it's not just 2 minutes and then sites. You could have, it could jump to different sites showing, hey, this is coming here. And then, and then zoom out, show the transportation networks and zoom into another site. I think that's kind of what the idea would be. And then, the other question would be when talking with the vendors to have them create, either short social media loops or shorter videos for, specific things that we want to see because they'll already have the content. They can just put it into a shorter method.
And part of my reason for the timing on this is I prefer to see videos made with leaves on the tree. It's just a much better video. So that's part of the, is there further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, all in favor of the motion, please state aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
no.
So it passes by a 3-2 vote. And if you would, please come back to us if Virginia firms, will you be able to assist? So we'll see what we can do on getting a Virginia firm and then back for consideration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other existing business update? Moving on to other business.
You want to go? Okay. As far as the Rito is concerned, thank you. We're making some great progress with that. We have the website that's been purchased, and it is gapallianceva.com. You'll see here we have a pretty much what we put together in our last meeting is basically a budget. I know there was an ask about, what costs could potentially be incurred so far with the Rito and what we've worked with. And this is what we've come up with. And when you're looking at this, look at this as a third, because right now we are tentatively agreed that we would each county would contribute a third for these. The biggest thing would be the FAM tour, and I know Nora has a little bit more information on that. We are having an upcoming VEDP Lunch and Learn. I think that's next month. I don't know the exact date, but we would like to have some questions or some topics that you would like us to bring up during that networking event. There will be a presentation by the RRA, our group who has put this together. I think Nora's going to have a chance, a few minutes per county to speak. We're still working on the attendance of the VEDP members. It will be at their location. So I don't know, Nora, do you have anything to add about? We're still looking for confirmations as to who's going to be there, but we've invited almost all of the key members of the VEDP to attend.
Yes, the heads of most of the departments have been invited. Several, including the director of VEDP, have accepted that invite. And the cost here is related to the food. We would be providing lunch to the VEDP members who attend. And so the $600 is an estimate, so we would split that into $200. If the meeting is next week, if there is anything in particular you'd like for us to get from the VEDP representatives, please let us know. But this is really more of an introduction for them to get to know the GAP Alliance and for us to get to know the key leaders there, many of which we already work with, but we're hoping to have further relationships built through this process. So if you have any questions, they would probably be, we could follow up and ask those after we make those connections.
So, and then, like I mentioned in the last meeting, the logo, we're still working on our logo. We're probably in the final stages, but we did, you'll see up here for brand design, we did go with a firm and the cost is $150. So we have unlimited chances to go back and forth with this to try to find the right one. We will own the website, we will own the logo, ownership of all of that we're making sure that that's something that's very clear with what we're doing. So the next step would be website and getting that up and running. Like we had mentioned with videos and things like that, we're still very early on with this process. So I think that's pretty much all I've got to add as far as the Rito is concerned. Did you have anything else?
I might just speak more on the FAM tour, the familiarization tours. That is something that's offered to us as a Rito. We haven't been able to have that in the past, where we bring out specific VDP staff people and show them around our county, show them our sites, and have one-on-one time with them to let them know about what Goochland has to offer. Therefore, when they're working with prospects, they'll be more familiar with our opportunities. So that cost, that $1,500 there is an estimate, and that's if we really wanted to go big and have a fancy dinner or meal in a 15-passenger van that we rented. So we could do a much smaller amount. It doesn't necessarily have to be that $1,500. But right now, we have about $900 in expenses. If you look at the brand design, the VDP Lunch and Learn, the sector team meetings, and website design. And that's split 3 ways, so that $900 would be our third. If you all felt it to be appropriate, if we could perhaps approve a small budget, not to exceed maybe of $2,000. So if some of these smaller expenses come up that we're not having to come back to you all every month with, we have $50 for this or that.
I would so move that we you can spend up to $2,000.
We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Do you mind repeating your motion?
Yes, I would so move that we would be able to, you would be able to spend up to $2,000 without having to come back to re-ask for funding.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
There's a second, DB Smith. It's discussion. Hearing no discussion, all in favor of the motion, please state aye.
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 Opposed?
No.
Abstentions? Okay, thank you.
One thing I did want to add about the Lunch and Learn. Again, please send us any questions, and I am going to ask them about the videos and how they promote them, and just if anything comes up, let me know, because I'll definitely bring it up.
Is there opportunity for anybody else to attend Lunch and Learns
We did ask
as
that-
EDA members?
Yeah, we did ask that, and they wanted the RA. They had mentioned that 2 per county is where we're at right now, and I
Who
mean,
mentioned that?
That's due to the
That's-
size of the space that VDP is setting us
Right.
up in.
But
Who said the 2 per? I'm sorry, I'm asking who said that? VEDP specifically?
by recommendation of the RA, our consultants,
Okay.
with the space and everything else. But I'm willing to step back. I mean, I really want to go and meet everyone. But if you want to take my place, then we can
I
work
think
that out.
everybody that wants to go should be allowed to go, because we're all equally appointed members. So I don't think anybody should have the right to tell us we can't go.
I understand that.
They don't actually have the right to
Yeah.
tell us we can't go, so I
Right.
would like to attend as well, please.
Well, it
I
is
do
not
wanna-
a public meeting. The room holds 30 people. We've invited 20 VDP members. We hope that they attend, and if they want to invite someone else, I think that's fantastic. And so that leaves 10 extra spaces, 2 for RRA, 2 for each locality. So there's possibly 2 extra seats. I know another locality asked if other people could be invited, and we said we need to keep it to 2. Mr. Collier has been appointed as the representative to the Rito board,
Right.
but I appreciate that he's willing to let someone else go in his spot.
So there's a possibility on the other 2 spots, or is that
Currently,
out?
during our discussion, there was not, no.
Okay, is there,
There may be a chance, depending on how many people from the VDP confirm attendance.
okay, would you check on that? And
Okay.
And
Okay.
I assume you're substituting?
Correct. And I
out
did
per
get a
day.
sense from the other counties that they wanted to make sure that it was somewhat fair and we didn't have,
An
invited,
overload.
everybody's boards and, the whole shebang. And again, it is simply more of an introductory lunch and learn meeting. There is opportunity, they did mention afterward, if we wanted to set up individual meetings, if the VEDP staff were available at that time. So that's another option as well.
Good point.
And again, they're available to us for any time we want to schedule a meeting for the entire EDA if we'd like.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item on the agenda, mobile food unit policy. And we have here consideration of the policy. What is the pleasure of the authority?
Is there someone representing the county who can answer questions?
So we do not have anyone from planning or zoning here. Obviously, Ms. Worley represents community development, which that department is part of community development. But Mr. Cash has taken another job, and that role has not yet been filled. If you all have questions this evening, I can take those questions and take them back to staff and get those answers back to you, or we can set up a separate committee meeting and you all can come in and meet one-on-one with staff.
Jenny and I
during the
both
day.
have a couple of questions. One, we wanted to know why it was being presented as a policy and not an ordinance, which is what we had intended.
So originally, it was set up as an ordinance, you are correct, and in speaking with the previous zoning administrator, he had wanted to, and what was presented at our last session when we talked about this, there were a lot of requirements, which is part of what an ordinance is that you have a lot of very specific requirements that you have to tie yourself to. After the work session, we got feedback from the EDA that we wanted this to be more flexible and not as strict. And so we thought we'd bring back to you a policy which allows for a lot more flexibility and waivers without necessarily having to go to a Board of Zoning Appeals or anything.
That's what I
The
thought.
only concern there is that you don't get as much as far as the enforcement. One of the other reasons for the policy as opposed to ordinance is that we haven't received many complaints. And I think if we were to have received a lot of complaints, or if moving forward we receive a lot of complaints, then that ordinance with stricter regulations is something that we should probably consider. But if you all are completely against a policy, we can add in more regulations and go back to that stricter ordinance.
Well, couldn't we do a broader general ordinance and then get stricter in policy from the ordinance?
I think it's an either or. It's got to be either policy.
I mean, that's a good
or-
I
question.
don't think it is an either
I'll talk
or.
to we can
Talk
talk to
I'm
folks
more
about that.
comfortable giving the businesses like the clear rights under an ordinance than making them dependent on staff discretion. And I mean, if we change zoning administrators, then everybody could be up in a tizzy because suddenly somebody else decided things were differently. And I'm a black and white rule person, so. And then the enforcement piece, I think, is the other piece of it. Why have a rule if it's not enforceable?
The other issue we talked about, Jenny and I talked about, was the eligible locations. In our initial draft, we had suggested that the mobile food units be able to operate on construction zones, not necessarily just a planned development park, but potentially a residential. And we saw that language was removed.
So we have, the policy does not apply to active construction sites serving construction personnel, but I think you mean, active construction sites serving someone other than construction personnel?
So under the eligible locations, it says either zoned for restaurant use, located within a planned development park, associated on an approved farmer's market, or associated with a permitted place of public assembly, but it doesn't say you could.
On page 1, the second section down under applicability, it does not apply to active construction sites serving construction personnel. Does that get to what you were looking for? So mobile, I'm sorry, meaning mobile food trucks can go to these sites.
Okay.
Couple of other things too. With that applicability, it says mobile vendors operating in a manner that remains transient and mobile with only brief stops of limited duration. That's not defined.
Okay.
And there's also no time limitations or anything, or lack or specific, no lack of time in the policy either.
There is for the cluster.
For the
but not-
cluster, but not for the individuals. I think the screening requirement is an issue.
What page is that one on?
That's, I don't know.
Madam Director, do you want to take all these comments back to?
Or if we need to have a
Or,
meeting, because there's
yeah,
like.
it
Or
would
a
be
meeting.
ideal if we could get
Yeah.
the comments maybe in writing, or we could sit down and have a meeting and get them, so we're not going through them all.
And I think another thing I want to point out too, with this being a policy versus an ordinance, is the lack of due process and public buy-in. I appreciate the public's ability to have a say in things that we are going to be imposing on businesses, and we do that through an ordinance process as opposed to a policy process.
So therefore, should we defer this until our next meeting? Would that be the preference,
Which I
consensus?
won't be here in the next meeting.
Oh, that's right, you won't be here.
September 30th. no.
I won't be here.
What's the relative timeframe schedule on this?
I mean, if we could have the meeting and get your feedback, and then we could have some back and forth, perhaps?
Okay.
Is that okay?
So would general
And by the
consensus?
October meeting, we can definitely.
Okay,
it out.
great, thank you. Let's move on then to the September meeting and October work session dates. I'm going to move to approve that, to cancel the September regular meeting of the EDA. Is there a second? Any discussion? All in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition, abstention? We don't have a consensus about a date, is that correct? Because you're going to be gone, Kenny, all October, and Lisa, you're going to be gone the last,
From the 15th to the 1st.
to the 1st.
Nora, sorry, October 7th through 29, I will be gone. So there will be a couple days in October, but
Okay, so we can look at the first, you're still here, Lisa? You're back?
I'm back on the 1st.
Okay. So, I don't know if it's possible to build consensus at this point on a date.
I can send out a poll,
Okay,
but, and as a reminder, are we going to go with the September 30th date to move our 23rd meeting to the 30th?
good question. Is there preference on the 30th? Would that work for our next meeting?
Well, we have the Port
I
of
thought-
Virginia.
I thought you just canceled the September meeting.
The regularly scheduled
The
September,
23rd.
which is 23rd.
Okay.
When's?
Do we
Port
know
of
what time
Virginia?
we'd be done with the Port of Virginia?
1 o'clock is what he stated, 11 to 1 was.
We should hopefully be back in town around 4.
So I'll make a motion that we approve having a meeting, a regular meeting on September 30th at our regular time.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? It passes. Is there any other business to come before?
I don't know if we need to take action on this, but just a reminder, October 15th at 5 o'clock, the joint work session with the Planning Commission. We'll post it as required, so we'll have the posting done. But just a reminder, we will have that meeting.
What will be our participation, just as a member of the work session itself, or?
This is for the safety protocol training,
Oh,
so
the-
you would just be there to listen and ask questions if you have any.
Since it's a meeting, we should probably approve the date, the time date, just so it's official in the notice. So what would be the,
October 15th at 5 o'clock.
I move that we approve a work session meeting on October 15th at, what time again?
5 o'clock.
5 o'clock, thank you. A joint session with the Planning Commission to look at issues dealing with safety.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please state aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition and abstention? Are there any other matters to come before the EDA at this point? Hearing none, I'm going to move to, in accordance with the provisions of Virginia Code Sections 2.23711 and 2.23712, I move that the Economic Development Authority of Goochland County, the authority, convene a closed meeting for the purposes of, one, discussion concerning a prospective business or industry locating in the community where no previous announcement about its plans have been made as permitted by the Virginia Code, Section 2.23711A5, and one, consultation with legal counsel. I believe that should be two.
It says two.
Oh, it does say two, and my eyes are, I'm sorry, I apologize. And two, consultation with legal counsel retained by the authority regarding specific legal matters requiring the provisions of legal advice by such counsel as permitted by Virginia Code Sections 2.23711A8. Man, I can't
I'll
believe.
second it.
There is a second, and any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstention? We will move into closed session. 2D of the Code of Virginia, I move that the Goochland County Economic Development Authority hereby certify that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted under open meeting requirements under Freedom of Information Act, and two, only such business matters as were identified in the motion convening the closed meeting were heard, discussed, or considered by the Goochland County Economic Development Authority in the closed meeting of this date. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Madam Secretary, if you would please.
Yes, if you could so signify by saying I so certify. Mr. Schmidt?
Aye.
Mr. Sloan? I so certify.
What was I supposed to say?
I so certify.
I so certify. Thank you.
I so
Ms.
certify.
Slade?
I so certify.
Ms. Dearden? Mr. Collier?
I so certify.
Thank you.
Is there any other business that needs to come before our meeting? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to adjourn.
And you're gonna let us know when the October meeting's gonna be?
Yes, we're going to send out a poll.
Is there a second? Any, no discussion on adjournment, so all in favor of adjourning, please state aye. Aye. Any opposed? Abstention. I forgot to say aye during the, so I'm aye also. Thank you very much.
Thank you.